finding hidden treasures, traveling to Tampa Bay's diverse communities and neighborhoods, discovering the sights, sounds, and taste of the region, experiencing history and culture. I'm your host, Serena Fazan, and we are Unlocking Tampa Bay. Hi, everyone. I'm Serena Fazan, and welcome to this episode of Unlocking Tampa Bay. I am joined with President and CEO Santiago Corrales. Santiago, it's so good to see you.
As always, ready for another great podcast show, huh?
There is so much happening. I grow more and more proud of Tampa. What's happening now?
Well, we've had some great things happen, in the not too distant past. We just came back from Toronto, where we had Destinations International, and that's a gathering of all the thought leaders from around the world. I think they had 19 countries represented, and I'm humbled that I'm going on the board of Destinations International, and we did a presentation on accessibility.
Congratulations!
Well, the presentation was what we were really proud of, because it really speaks to, we've been a pioneer in a number of areas, and now we're really, a groundbreaker when it comes to talking about accessibility. You did a podcast not too long ago about our efforts to make sure that we're addressing any inadequacies as far as accessibility for individuals that have or may have a disability. So that presentation was great. In fact, it led to a number of other interviews and articles being written. But more importantly, we're working on bringing that big convention to Tampa. So whenever we participate in a convention, we're really there for a number of reasons. Yes, we want to learn, we want to grow, we want to be a part of the industry, but we're really looking at bringing that home and having that convention. So hopefully in the next few years, we'll host a Destinations International Conference, and we'd be proud to host, over 19 countries in our industry coming here to Tampa. So that just happened. We've got USA Gymnastics, which we've been talking about for a few podcasts. That's coming up here shortly. And so just a lot of excitement. We announced a new women and men's professional soccer team.
Okay.
Right? The Strikers, and you've had their new head coach on one of your shows.
Okay, wait for it. It's Automatica Grammatica, Martin Grammatica.
What a known name in Tampa and Hillsborough County. So, really exciting that, another one of our great venues. I know you're visiting a few in this show, but, the Yuengling Center is now going to be a focus for those professional teams, the men and women's soccer team. And so that brings a different level of exposure for that North Tampa area in and around Busch Gardens. So very, very exciting to have a women's professional team. We've had men's professional teams, but now to have a women's professional team is super exciting, because again, we can address a different audience, not just soccer players, but young ladies who want to play soccer. So that's super exciting.
Well, it seems like, there's so much happening, right? More conventions, what you're talking about. And also talk to us about Dr. Clayton's birthday and giving back to the community.
Yeah, Dr. Clayton, a civil rights leader, was there with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. She has kind of made Tampa her second home. She's from the Atlanta area, but started celebrating her birthday here. And bringing dignitaries from all over the world, all over the country, to her exciting celebrations. And so to have someone of that magnitude call Tampa her second home and celebrate, milestones here is very, very satisfying. So we're super excited to welcome her back for her next birthday celebration.
So Santiago, though, talk about her birthday, because this is not a typical birthday party.
No, she brings friends from all over the country. It's almost a convention, right? A mini convention, and then they give back to the community. So she's about giving back. And if you've ever had a chance to spend some time with her, and I've been fortunate to have spent a lot of time with her over the last few years since she's been coming to Tampa, rarely do we meet people that are great human beings. They may be great presidents, CEOs, or teachers, or police officers, or soccer coaches, or football coaches, but a great human being to the core, I think sometimes is hard to find. And when you spend time around her, you really feel like you're around a great human being. And so just, her candor, her experiences, her soul, her spirit, all great to be around. And so I am always excited when she's in town. If I'm in town, I see her, and we share some time together, and you always walk away feeling like she's added to your spirit, to your soul.
Well, what a compliment to have her here, and
Absolutely.
a huge compliment to Tampa. Tampa clearly is no stranger to so many big events.
You know, we've been very, very fortunate. You know, we've been the home to many, many big events. You know, the convention center hosts, 300 or more events a year. And, like I said, we're having Comic-Con, but big conventions. They've been the home to the Republican National Convention. They've been a media center for the Super Bowl, media center for the Republican National Convention. They hosted some International Indian Film Award events. But, you talk about Shriners, and you talk about military conventions and societies, all sizes, all shapes, very accommodating. And then, the Florida State Fairgrounds. We're blessed that we can have these events because we have so many venues. And I know I'm going to forget some, but when you start thinking about Ray J and Amalie Arena and the Yuengling Center and the Convention Center and the Fairgrounds, and then you talk about the Tampa Theater or the Performing Arts Center or some of our major events parks, you have a lot to work with. And so we're able to bring events that we can spread out all over town, or we can have in a centralized location. And so Convention Center is incredible. The Florida State Fairgrounds, they've been the home to the Florida State Fair for 118 years. You talk about a legacy. 500,000 people visit the fair during its time in town. And what an economic driver, year round. From Florida's largest home show to reptile shows to gun shows. I mean, the fair, shows that deal with agriculture. You've met Cheryl Flood, who runs the fairgrounds, fifth generation Floridian, knows agriculture, just a tremendous person to run the fair. Has done an incredible job for, I think, the last 6 years or so. And so understands the economic impact of the fair. I think, 152 million plus a year in economic benefit. And so we're blessed. When you have those many venues, you can really bring a lot of events to town. And we have been known for putting on some big events here in Hillsborough County. It never stops.
You're not kidding. And when you were talking about Dr. Clayton earlier, Cheryl Flood is amazing too. What a superstar she is. So we're going to talk to her now because it was so interesting to learn there is so much going on at the Florida State Fair. It's not just the fair coming up in February.
No. The concerts there are phenomenal at the amphitheater. I mean, I drive I-4 often and look at the marquee to see what's happening. And there's always something happening there. And, the variety of events and the variety of people that are drawn to the fairgrounds, add to our character here that, we can accommodate just about anybody who wants to come here and see something.
Well, on this episode of Unlocking Tampa Bay, I'm excited for people to get to know Cheryl a little bit more. And Santiago, I also got to make a candle. So are you ready to watch?
I hope the candle looks good.
It does.
Okay. It's not crooked?
It's not crooked. I did an okay job.
It's not an artistic candle.
No, I did an okay job. Yeah. And we are here with Cheryl Flood, the CEO of the Florida State Fairgrounds. Cheryl, it is so nice to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
I love talking to incredible women. You are the first female CEO of the Florida State Fair.
I am.
So tell us about yourself.
So I grew up in agriculture. My family was in the cattle ranching business. I'm fifth generation Floridian. Worked for several commissioners of agriculture and was appointed here in the interim and ended up staying here at the Florida State Fair full time.
I have to say, the Florida State Fair brings back so many wonderful memories for me personally. But the fair is actually in February, and here we are in August. Mm-hmm. So what happens between now and the fair? And tell us where we are. This is called Cracker Country.
It is. So we host over 250 events across the fairgrounds throughout the year. So we are year-round. We're busy here on the grounds. Today we're here in Cracker Country. It's around the late 1800s to early 1900s. It's the Florida's Living History Museum. It was created by the Carleton Foundation. So we have school tours here throughout the year. We have special events, Museum Day, Christmas in the Country, several special events. And then during the fair, the public can come in for free throughout the 12-day run of the fair.
I have to say, in my 20 years of living here, shame on me, I have not been to this area, and I love it.
It's a treasure.
total treasure. And what are we doing? We're in front of, I love candles as well. So this is what, a candle making station?
It is. So this is what the kids will get the opportunity to do. This was something that they did back in the period for light, and basically we're going to make a candle today. So this is beeswax. Of course, bees are an important commodity of agriculture and pollination and production agriculture. So what you're going to do is you're just going to put the candle here on the end of the stick.
Okay.
Whoops, I just dropped it, sorry. Here we go, make sure you get it in there good.
Okay, got it.
Okay,
got it.
and then we're going to take it and we're just going to drop it in to the beeswax. Pull it in, pull it up. And you can see it's getting larger at the end of the candle.
Yes. And how fun. So everybody gets to do this.
They do. So it's an important part. We're very hands-on. We want the kids to learn what life was back like in the late 1800s, early 1900s. So we feel it's important for the kids to actually do something and be able to feel and see and actually be a part of creating something.
So before we go into talking about the fair, speaking of components, the livestock component is very significant here. Can you talk about that as well?
It is. So I grew up showing cattle here at this fair.
Wow.
I did. It was so fun. I have such great memories as a kid here. And look, we're in the business of creating memories for families. And these kids, they start with these animal projects very young, and it's like a generational thing for these families. They come to the fairgrounds, they work all year long for these projects, and they come and showcase their projects during the fair. So they come and they show their cattle. It teaches them responsibility. It teaches them how to manage their budgets and finances, and then they come to the fair and show their animal.
That's wonderful. Okay, so back to the candle now.
Yeah.
Oh, do we keep on doing this, or how much longer? It's so fun.
I think we're getting close.
How can you tell?
So see how it's getting a little thicker at the end? So there we go.
So we just continue to dip our candles.
So keep it out for just a little bit.
Okay, all right.
There we go.
All right, so as we keep it out, now let's talk about the fair. What an honor and privilege, right, Cheryl, to have the Florida State Fair in Hillsborough County, in the Tampa Bay area.
From the very beginning. From the very beginning. So we are celebrating this year 119 years right here in Tampa Bay. What a privilege. I mean, we've been in this community for years. We used to be downtown where the University of Tampa sits today, and then in the 1976 we moved out to this property, which is great. I-4 and 301 prime property. We have over 336 acres here, and we have this rich history that we've established here.
What does that say about Tampa Bay that we are chosen to host the Florida State Fair?
You know, I think long ago we were part of Gasparilla, so there's just this long history of knowing that Tampa's the place that people want to be, and it's the center of the state, so people come to the State Fair from all over the state, and it's a central location. It's got such pride and such history here.
So Cheryl, how many people head to the fair every year?
So we really run about 450,000 visitors to the gate. So about 500,000 people between the exhibitors and the people that are on property. So we have about 500,000 people annually.
And they come from all over.
They do, statewide. You know, even out of state. We have a lot of out-of-state guests as well that come here.
I have so many questions still about the fair, but we should do one last dip of the candle, right? Yeah. And I get to take this home, don't I?
Yes, you get to take it home.
So fun. Okay, so now we'll let it sit and rest over here.
Perfect. Yes.
Okay, so I told you I do have a love for candles, but I've also put on the record several times that I don't eat to live, I live to eat. And the fair is always known for such great food.
It is. We've got so much food. We have over 200 vendors. You can come to the fairgrounds and eat any kind of type of food you want, from sweet to salty. We've got weird, crazy food as well. Anything from pickle pizza to funnel cake tacos to any type of certain types of wines and beers and stuff that are special and unique to the Florida State Fair.
So Cheryl, let me ask you, like every year it seems like, you have the fried Oreos and you have certain foods that you can always find, but every year there's always some unique options.
Yeah.
How do you guys choose that?
So what we do is we get our concessionaires to send us their new unique foods, and what we normally have is the public vote on what they think is the coolest and most unique food for that specific fair.
How much fun, and does the team get to do a little taste test
We
before?
do a lot of taste testing, probably way too much.
Well, okay, I mean, believe me, that's one of my most favorite parts. And then, of course, the rides.
Yes.
How many rides are there at the fair?
So we are one of the largest midways in North America. We have over 90 plus rides. Anyway, it can go from 90 to 120. It just depends on the year, but we are a very large midway, and people in Tampa love to ride at the Florida State Fair.
What are some of your favorite memories of the fair?
You know, growing up in agriculture, of course, the animals and livestock is my favorite. And, you know, it's about tradition, it's about family, it's about making memories, coming here on property, and that's what all of our staff live for every day, is to make sure that when people come here, they have a pleasant time and they leave with an experience.
You know, there's so much happening here, as you and I have talked about, here in Cracker Country, and we're, you know, as we make our candles. But there are some other big events, too, that happen throughout the year. In fact, I've been here for a governor's luncheon.
Yes.
Can you talk
Always
about
opening
that?
Day. Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
Can you talk about that?
So opening day of the fair is always Heroes Day. So we let all first responders, law enforcement, medical personnel into the fair for free on opening day. We want to start our fair honoring those heroes in our community. Again, we're all about community. And as part of that day, we have a Governor's Day lunching. So we host the governor, the cabinet, and over 800 of the community leaders come and open the fair at noon with a nice luncheon.
Why do you feel that is so important?
It is because it's about patriotism, it's about country, it's about community, and that's what the State Fair is about, is serving our community. And having been here right here in Tampa Bay for 119 years, we want to make sure our Tampa Bay leaders come out and really help us start and launch our State Fair for the year.
Tell us some of the other special days during the fair.
Yeah, so like I said, we do Heroes Day, which is free. We have a Family Day where we allow kids to come in for free. This year we're going to have $3 Thursday, which we're going to have $3 admission, $3 rides, and $3 food sampling. So each year we launch promotions right ahead of the fair. So go to our website, floridastatefair.com, a couple months before fair, and you'll be able to see what we're going to do this year. It's going to be very exciting.
We can't wait for that. So in the meantime, what can we expect between now and the fair?
We've been planning for a year, so we're lining up all of our entertainment, lining up all of our rides, lining up all of our concessionaires. Kids are applying online to participate at the fair. We're going to have a community stage, so anyone that wants to come to the State Fair and host and perform at the State Fair, we've got a place for you. So we're getting information out right now, and come September, October, we're going to start making announcements leading into fair of all the great things that we're going to have this year. And again, it gets bigger and better every single year.
And in the meantime, too, will there be school tours once school starts? And
there
things
will
like
be.
that?
Yep, Cracker Country hosts school tours throughout the year. Go to the FloridaStateFair.com and click on Cracker Country, and you can apply and be able to bring school programs out here in schools. We host over 25,000 school kids here annually here at the grounds through our school programming.
That's so wonderful. And again, I started out with the show saying it's wonderful to talk to inspiring women and incredible leaders.
Thank you.
Is there anything is there anything that you would like to add that I did not ask you?
I would just tell you that we've got a great staff here. They work year round to, again, when you come to our grounds, we want to make sure you have a good customer experience. We're in the people business. We want to make sure that the Tampa Bay community loves coming out here. We have events throughout the year. I encourage you to check our website and see what we have. Every single weekend and during the week we have events, and it's all types of, we have the RV show, we've got boat show, we've got Jurassic Quest, we've got all types of consumer shows. Come out and see us. We want to see your faces, and we want you to develop great memories here.
Well, that's why, too, we were so passionate about doing the show in August, because we want our wonderful community to know that the Florida State Fairgrounds are open for so many events all year round.
All year round.
Thank you so much for your hard work.
And thank you.
Thank you, and your team, and thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Santiago told you, didn't the candle come out okay?
The candle looked great. And Cheryl is such an asset to our community. So I'm glad you got to spend some time with her. And you actually got to spend some time at one of my favorite locations. And
Cracker Country.
You talk about stepping back in time, and visiting some of those old buildings that were relocated. That are the actual places that were relocated to one location, and to walk from house to house, building to building, with those beautiful trees. It's one of my favorite places. Every year I go to the fair, and I have to go to Cracker Country. And it is just one of those places where you can close your eyes and open them and not really be in this time or place. So Cracker Country, again, it's the variety of experiences and things you can do here And that one speaks to that variety of experiences. It's incredible.
100%, and especially the educational aspect. I know your daughter is older, but as many people know, I have a 15-year-old, and to see Cracker Country and see the way people live, it's magical, as you said.
It's amazing. If you've never gone, or if you're a visitor and have some time, and check when it's open, because I know it's not open all the time. It is a definite not miss, because it really speaks to the roots and the history of Florida. You know, again, we said the Florida State Fairgrounds turns 119 when it opens up again, and as you were mentioning, one of the oldest fairs in the country, if not the oldest. And so to have Cracker Country there at the site of the oldest state fair is just a great combination. And again, you know, we've mentioned some of the great assets that we have, some of the great venues. You know, you talk about Plant City, and you talk about the Strawberry Festival and the fairgrounds there. You know, we have 3 fairgrounds here. You know, we
It's
have the
amazing.
State Fairground, we have the Strawberry Festival Fairgrounds, and we have the Hillsborough County Fairgrounds. So when you think about an area, a city, a county that has 3 fairgrounds where we can have events of all different types and shapes, that's phenomenal for us as, you know, destination leaders, destination marketers, planners, event holders, event competitors. You know, to be able to have at our disposal those kinds of facilities. You know, we could have 3 major things happening at 3 major fairgrounds at one time, or spread out, however we want to do it. So it's phenomenal that we get to spotlight the Florida State Fairgrounds and Cheryl and the great job they do, and the huge economic impact. You know,
I wanted to talk to you about that. I mean,
Yeah.
talk to us about that. Economic impact is huge. It affects everybody, even if they go to a fair or not.
Right. You know, when you think about over 150 million or over 160 million in economic impact, and you talk about, you know, what that means goods that are sold. That means vendors that make a living. That means employees that are hired or are a part of the process, or people coming and spending with those vendors, or on accommodations, or going out to eat, and the sales tax that's involved. You know, we often talk about, you know, the tourism tax or people staying in hotels, but, you know, a lot of that economic impact at the fair is about sales tax, and the sales tax that goes to the state and then trickles its way back to the local government, and it means we don't have an income tax. So again, it's that huge economic impact that we so often neglect with the work that we do, and that our partners like the fairgrounds does.
And as everybody benefit. And, you know, I said earlier, even if you don't go to the fair, but you have to go to at least one of the fairs in Tampa. Oh my gosh, you'd be missing out on so much.
Oh my gosh. I mean, the Florida State Fair is something not to be missed. You know, that agricultural component, the vendors, the rides, the educational piece of it, where, you know, our young people in the schools create projects and they're on display, and it's just, you know, this atmosphere that is hard to duplicate anywhere else. So when you're there, you're immersed, right, in that whole fair scene. So whether, you know, you're having, you know, some weird burger or some crazy chicken leg, or you're getting on, you know, some ride, hopefully not after you've eaten all that food. You know, it's that whole atmosphere, which is just phenomenal. I love going to the fair every year. I don't think I've missed it once since I've been here now almost 20 years, and it is just always a great time. And it's one of those things that has the nostalgia piece to it, but there's always something new with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I always enjoy it. It's always around February, I think. Usually it's, you know, early part of February.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful
and so
weather.
You kind of, yes, and the weather cooperates. So you kind of, you know, make sure you circle the calendar for the dates when it's going to be around.
Well, speaking of the fair, because I saved the best part for last, that I love this show and I learned so much on this show, and it makes me even more proud of Tampa. How about Tampa? The Florida State Fair is the first fair in the entire country. Like we set the stage.
Well, you know, it's again, we mentioned 119 years,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I hope it's the oldest at 119. But again, it's that legacy, and it's Tampa. You know, Tampa is the home for Florida's fair, and that's saying something. You know, the fair could have been anywhere. for the state, and its home is Tampa. It's been its home, and again, just another reason to come and visit Tampa. And what's good for visitors is good for locals, right? So, the fair doesn't say only visitors, only locals. The fair says come on, come all. And so it's great to be able to have an event like that every year you can depend on, that highlights, Tampa, Hillsborough County.
It was so much fun to learn so much more about it.
Awesome.
Well, before we wrap up the show, what can we expect coming up?
It's the summer, and we're doing very, very well. Still doing very, very well. But the reminder is that the rest of the country is now open for business, and every destination is out there hungry to draw visitors. So we're in our summer campaign where we're out there talking about visitors coming here to enjoy a summer vacation and have a great time in the region, but most specifically in Tampa, Hillsborough County. And obviously, you did, the month of July was Disability Pride Month, and all things around making sure that accessibility is right here. And so, we're kind of sort of in the middle of the summer. And we'll see how the summer looks at the end, but we've got some, great groups coming to town, great conventions. Obviously in August, we have the gymnastics, USA Gymnastics in town. So lots of excitement going into the summer, and it's the summer months. It's always interesting with the weather and how that works out for us, but we're super optimistic that it's going to be a great summer. And, like I've always said, you're going to have lots of things to talk about because you can never cover everything we have to offer.
Well, we so enjoy it, Santiago, and thank you so much for spending all this time with us.
Thank you.
Until next time, we're unlocking Tampa Bay. Stay safe, everyone. To learn more about Visit Tampa Bay and the adventures that await you, visit www.visittampabay.com or follow @Visit Tampa Bay on social media.